Welcome. You've got dads.
So, welcome back. We just went on our second date with Matt. And this episode rather, we're going to go on our second date with Damien because that is who the randomized generator chose. And just to explain the pun title of this episode, I vant to suck your Bloodmarch. It's actually a misquoted line from 1931's Dracula. I'm not really sure how it got misquoted to begin with, but it's stuck around for decades at this point, where it's just, a common trope of vampires. And it works with Damien because going on Damien's dates gets you the achievement interview with the vampire. So I just thought it was a nice fitting pun, and we're just going to get started with the date now. This is it went away, but that was a very good dad tip. You always have time to be kind to others. Like, it really takes no effort. So I really like that the developers add this element for Damien to have. It's such a long letter, though. I mean, I've heard that very messy handwriting is a sign of a really smart person, because their handwriting's so messy. That means they write really fast, which means they're able to convey and jot down their ideas. But I don't think that's true for everybody. I mean, I've met smart people with very neat handwriting. I've also, not to judge people with bad handwriting, but I've never really understood how people develop bad handwriting. Like, because when I was growing up, we had handwriting classes that you had to take. Not so much for print itself, although a little bit, but it was usually for cursive. And, through having to do at least 2 grades of that, I feel like most people would develop a seemingly coherent and somewhat neat writing style. But, writing styles are as unique as personalities.
Yeah.
See, I would have trouble watching this movie because if I haven't seen the original Vampire Crusade, I think that's what the title was, then I'm not going to watch part 2. Like, when I lived in Japan, we had an interesting thing that the school I worked at did, and it was where all the students and all the staff went to the movies. And while I can speak Japanese and I can listen to it and hear it and, understand what's being said, when I watch a movie, I don't really want to have to go through that much of a process. Like if there were subtitles, it would be okay. So I would go and watch the English movies that they have with the Japanese subtitles, just to enjoy the experience. And one time, out of the movies that were showing, there was only like 3 English movies showing, so it's not like I had a large selection. And one of them was Red 2, which is like a middle-aged assassin movie, comedy sort of thing. And the movie selection wasn't good. Red 2 sounded somewhat interesting, but I wouldn't let myself see it because I hadn't seen the original movie. So I'm really meticulous about that kind of thing.
Oh.
Vampire titties could be nice, I guess. This sounds way too pretentious. Let's go with something a little basic here, but not as basic as hay. I don't actually know if the letter writing part of the pre-date, I guess you could call it, actually affects your date with Damien. This wouldn't be a good line. This is too basic. We'll go with this one. You definitely don't want to go with that one. This one seems like it could be alright. This is a bit pretentious, but it seems even better than this one.
Yeah.
So, this is supposedly like the good answer, but as much as I know this piece, well, I don't really know this piece of art right offhand, but I've at least heard of it. To me, that's way too pretentious. I'm gonna go with this one. And if we want to round it off in a very good way, we'd probably go with this one. Titillating. Ooh, pun. Hard daps is definitely not happening. Namaste. No. I think this is the good one, but this seems more natural to me.
Oh.
Oof. That is some rough handwriting, though. This seems formal enough to me. I mean, it's not over pretentious. It's not too basic. I feel like this part would need a bit more of a flourish, though, like "Dearest Damien" or something like that. But yeah, it's good.
Hey!
The thing is, the carrier pigeons are, they're extinct. So you don't have a guy.
Hmm?
I don't know why they're doing this thunder thing. Damien's honestly not scary whatsoever.
Ah! Huh. Huh. Oh my. Huh. Ah.
Popcorn is fine. Like, candy during a movie is okay to me, but just give me a good soda, a good popcorn, and the movie, and that's all I need.
Huh. Oh. What? Huh. Hmm. Hmm.
Wonder if this is the same theater room that Robert and I snuck into on his first date. I'll probably ask if everything's okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, I've never seen Halloween Town, but I think that's a Disney production, isn't it? And if so, maybe you want to rethink that as, your favorite horror movie, because I don't even think it's a horror movie.
Huh. Oh my! Ah!
Oh my god. Oh my god. That was one of the worst voice acting screams I think I've ever heard. Well, this movie can't be scary because the movie hasn't even started playing yet. Ew. Gross. Who eats licorice?
Ah! Huh.
Well, at least he's a delicious vampire. Well-oiled abs. It's your modern vampire look. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a second here. And I'm not necessarily complaining about this movie, but I personally love vampire lore. Like, I find vampires to be one of the most interesting mythological creatures ever to be thought. Like, that is just a very fascinating, existence. So, you're an immortal humanoid person who used to probably be human. Um, you drink blood to, stay alive, to survive. You're able to transform, and this is going from very traditional idea of what a vampire is. You're able to transform into a bat. You usually deal with living in a very gothic environment. The sunlight damages you, silver damages you, holy water, garlic, all of these weird little nuanced things that you wouldn't ever think to craft and put together into an idea come together into vampires. And what really that I like about vampires most is just the very mysterious, magical aspect of them. Dark magic, very esoteric. So I think it's very interesting. But, of course, this movie probably isn't going to convey vampires in that way. It's probably going to be a very modernized version of vampire, almost Twilight-esque, with horror mixed in instead of, just a crappy love story.
Ah!
So I do have to bring up something here, and it's a typo on the part of the developers. So the character's name is Romulus Bad Blood, but here's the typo, True Blood. So they never did get around to fixing that, before releasing the game. Oh no, that's just, no. Oh, that's such a bad line.
Ah!
I mean, I don't really wonder this about the other dads, but I wonder, like, what are Damien's hands like? Like, I expect them to be small, not small, soft. But he seems like someone who might have, like, cold hands all the time. So, certain people have warm hands all the time. Certain people have cold hands all the time. So I think he would be one of those cold hands kind of people. It's cute, but I don't feel like he needs to impress us. Oh, jeez. So my own dad does this. Like, he's really bad at talking during the movie. In fact, he's so bad at it that he misses what's happening in the movie because he's talking about the movie to people. So, like, we'll go, and he does this at home most of the time because we don't usually go to the theater with him. But when you go to the theater with him, he still does it. So I remember watching, like, Star Wars Episode 3, so the prequel trilogy, the very last movie, the prequel trilogy. And my dad was just, like, commenting on everything, and because he was commenting on everything, he was missing what was happening. So he would turn to my brother and he'd be like, what's going on? It's like, well, if you would watch the damn movie, you would know what's going on instead of asking a question every 5 damn seconds. Thing is, I hate talking during a movie, so this is not what I would be doing. I'm definitely not going to ask what's happening because that will piss me off. I'll point out a plot hole.
Huh.
Oh, that's such a bad meme. Why?
What? Hmm. Hmm.
Always with the vampire titties.
Hmm. Oh.
Wow, smooth Damien. Thanks is, that's a nice response.
Hmm.
It's not that smooth, but okay. Sure. Let's go with that.
Ah. Oh. Ah. Oh. What?
But why did you feel the need to hide that?
Oh. Oh.
The thing is that we're not sitting alone in a graveyard, we're sitting with Damien.
Huh. Ah! Huh. Ah! Huh. Huh. Oh.
Truth be told, I'm not honestly surprised to see Robert here. I mean, he likes cryptids apparently, so it's not really that weird. If there was anybody of the dads I was expecting to see in a graveyard at nighttime other than Damien and me, it would be Robert.
Oh.
Oh?
Huh. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Robert, what is it with you and like creating bullshit about every story? You expect me to believe this? Because I sure as hell don't.
Mm.
Oh.
Oh.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Huh. Uh-huh. Hmm. Huh.
I definitely wouldn't answer that. That's really rude. This definitely seems like a good answer. I like this one though.
Uh-huh. Oh.
I mean, the thing is, like, he is eccentric, but it's not off-putting. I mean, except for when he was a bit uptight during the first date that one time. But like I said, it's not a very off-putting hobby or interest of his.
Hey. Huh. Hmm. Ah.
Makes me wonder if she's seen it.
Ah. Ah.
I don't think he's really misremembering it. I think he's remembering it correctly. It's just Damien said picnics as opposed to parties, but you know, a picnic can be a party. I've had picnic parties before.
Hmm. Ah. Hmm. Hmm. Ah.
I agree with that dad tip. I feel like we did pretty well.
My dear friend, you've simply taken the egg on this one. Taken the egg is a, it's a, it's a Victorian phrase. It technically means winning, so, ultimately, you've won.
That was maybe the longest end date line I think I've ever heard. Like, just dial it back a tiny bit, Damien. Dial it back. You don't need to go that far.
Welcome. You've got dads.
Okay, well, that ends this episode. Next episode, we'll see whose second date we're going to go on. We only have Craig, Brian, Joseph left. So we'll see who pops up. Alright, bye.